Hello and welcome to Feel It Friday. What a great week it has been. I've had some fantastic guests on this week, and today's guest is no exception. One of my favorite LAites, one of my favorite Californians, no, one of my favorite humans actually. Sonia Barrett is joining us today. My name is Mark Abadi. This is Inspirational Community Collaboration, a live broadcast show which you can share and like on the buttons below. It is that simple. We've done over 70 broadcasts now. You can find them all on the Facebook channel and on my YouTube, markabadi.com/watch as well. Woo! Okay, so we've got a great show today. Sonia Barrett is going to be speaking on using fear as an opportunity to gain self-power. I altered the end a little bit. Let me introduce Sonia. In fact, let me bring Sonia on as I'm introducing her so that you can all see her beautiful being as I talk about her. Sonia Barrett, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you so much. I am truly happy to be here. Looking forward to it.
Such a pleasure. Allow me to read off some of your stuff, who you are. Sonia teaches and coaches on the natural science of the path inward. And this is where we first connected, on this presence that she brings to light and to energy medicine. She's a producer, talk show host, author, coach, a bringer of light. I wanted to say bearer of light, but that was a bit satanic. But a bringer of light. She is the executive producer of the award-winning documentary The Business of Disease and the producer-host of the radio show The Expansion Zone with Sonia Barrett on KPFK 90.7 FM LA. She's published 3 books. First, The Holographic Canvas, A Fusion of Mind and Matter. The second, A Journey of Possibilities and Health, an Inside Job and an Outside Business. I like that title. And third, Simple Ways to Step Outside of Your Comfort Zone and Letting Go of an Outdated Life. And the last one is also a 7-day course that she puts on. You can find more on therealsoniabarrett.com, and all the links are in the show below. Oh, Sonia, hi.
Hello there. How are you? It's been a while.
It has been a while, and to answer your question, I am so well.
Yeah, that's usually the case with you, though, Mark. I have never known you to not.
Oh, and you don't know that I deleted the space between my first and last name, so now I go by Mark Abadi. So a lot of my older friends who know me as Mark, they can't get it, but just in case you manage to remember, it's Mark Abadi, like one word.
Mark Abadi.
Yeah,
Wow.
it feels so much better.
Wow, so there is no last name.
Well, unfortunately, I always have to put a last name. So when I'm filling out things and they put first name, I'm like Mark Abadi, and they put last name, and I'm like Mark Abadi. So,
Mark Abadi.
So now I'm Mark Abadi, Mark Abadi, Mark Abadi, Mark Abadi. Yeah, exactly.
Wow, that's a mantra. Like that's what it feels like.
In actual fact, it is a Sanskrit word, but it's spelled nothing like my name, but it sounds totally like it. So when I was sitting listening to a Kirtan group, Dream Seed, actually, the wonderful New York group. Are you familiar with them? They're amazing.
Dream Seed, you said?
Yeah. Dream Seed, they're beautiful. Anyway, they were.
Sounds familiar, but
they were singing a mantra, and then it was Makabadi, Allah, Makabadi, and I'm like, it's my name. Anyway, so it sounds great. So you're in Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
How are you finding this very interesting time?
Quite interesting, and I'm not going to get all crazy today on the show.
What do you mean? I only brought you on to get crazy.
Yeah, I'm I want to present like I'm, a different.
That you're normal.
Together person. It doesn't last though. I've definitely, when I say I've had a time with it, I've had a time with it from the perspective of I just don't like being told what to do. I don't like being told what to do. Now, if I really feel that there is a deep level of true legitimacy, then that's different. And so for me, yes, it's definitely been a questioning as to legitimacy and a lot of foolishness and a lot of what is it, contradictions, and so because I really pay attention to what is said, and I like to read the fine print and between the lines,
Right.
and yeah, it just doesn't add up. So that kind of annoys me with having to mask, and masking is about what over your mouth. It's about shutting up. There's a lot of symbolisms here
Right.
at this time, and so that's how I look at much of this from a much deeper standpoint.
And
And yeah,
how do those symbols relate to like what is actually going on?
you're talking, well, one, the mask is definitely signifying, I think people's ability to live with a mask on. I mean, that's sort of how we live anyway. We're sort of programmed
Right.
to not be ourselves, to not know who we really are. So people do cover up. We don't want people to know certain things about us. We put on a different face, and pretty much everybody does that because we have a prescription for a social prescription, I should say,
Mm.
as to what is acceptable behavior, what is acceptable in terms of so many different things. So you find that people really are very seldom living completely who they are. So you've got this mask. It's like, wear a mask, cover up. And then it's really the opposite. It's like, take off the mask, take off the
Right.
mask, like the real mask of who you are. What is your truth? So this to
Mm.
me is a moment too of really questioning, what is your truth? What do you stand for? Anything? What do you stand for? Have you just been living the prescribed, accepted life? It's all of that. And then of course the covering the mouth, it's just, you be quiet. We know what's best for you.
Mm.
Just shut up and just cover up. So you've got everybody trying to talk when they do, with this thing over their mouth, and also the fear. So then there's the fear that people are feeling with one another. Now the distrust is even higher. It's, oh well, I don't want to stand too
Right.
close to you,
Right.
because so there's all kinds of things, and it's an opportunity for people to really see who they are. Yeah, I don't care how spiritual you said you were. This is a moment that is going to show you the truth of who you are, and what you actually believe at the core of your being. So
Right.
it's a truthful moment at the same time. And know thyself is the most significant thing that we can do, is to know thyself. And this is an upgrade, that's for sure. And it
Right.
is an opportunity to really begin to see what you're made of, who you are, and how you've relinquished your power.
Right. Right. Now with this notion of power, um, I'm noticing repeat patterns. I've done a lot of these interviews now, and it's all obvious, as we always said. It's like you, there's only so many times you can say the same simplistic
Exactly.
obviousness of nature,
Mm-hmm.
um, and so I'm noticing these patterns, and one of the patterns is this idea of the burning of the phoenix, destruction in order for the rebirth to occur, and of course, that toroidal spiraling DNA
Well,
matrix.
out of chaos comes order.
So
We'll just throw that out
right,
there.
right. So
Yeah.
so so how much do you feel we have already done the burning, or how much do you feel the burning is still yet to come?
Okay, so there's a couple of different kinds of burning we're talking about. You're talking about the burning in terms of the system, in terms of the governing structures, when they feel that the burning has reached maximum capacity, which would be based on their agendas, which we really are not really clear on.
Mm,
So
mm.
that's something different. Or you're talking about just in general, the transformation, or the opportunity for people
Yeah.
to move into a higher state of understanding and consciousness.
Yeah. Well, I think with regards to this, it's the idea of people's self empowerment. The whole idea of these shows is to try and help people to understand where their power lies.
Okay, so then to answer that question, do I think that you know we're at that point? And it's an individual thing. It's going to be an individual thing. I think that the window, like anything else, is like there's always a window of opportunity open for a while. Now, and those who manage to go through that window or door during that time, they do. And then there's some that who just won't, and that's okay too. So it's not an overall. It's not everybody is moving into these evolutionary states,
Mm-hmm.
but yet everybody is doing something at their own level, at their own level of understanding and awareness. So I mean that's the only way that I
Okay.
can truly answer that. I think sometimes we want a blanket um, idea of where we're saying, it's sort of like the idea of we're all ascending. Well, the fact of the matter is we're each all free agents here
Mm.
in this on this journey, and it's the relationships that we have with each other and the environment that is determining or helping us to play out our stories, our individual stories,
Right.
and determine where we go from here. As far as empowerment, now, because there's been so much fear, and there's a lot of people that are living in a state of fear. When people are living in that kind of fear, it is a disempowering.
Mm.
It is about giving your power away. When we understand that we have a deep level of power and an ability to be anchored in that and to make choices, individual choices, whether it be, you know what, I will not allow myself to be pulled in to the story or into someone else's game. It doesn't mean you won't have compassion for other people,
Mm.
but you're making a choice as to what you are choosing to engage in. And you're taking that power back and you're standing strong in that power, as opposed to, oh, well, I'm just going to wait, sit around, and I'm going to wait to see what they come up with to save us. The Savior program starts to run.
Right. Right.
When the Savior program is running like that, that means that you're giving away your power.
Right.
You've got leaks in your power, like the what is it, the gas being on in the wintertime, and you're not, your insulation isn't good, so you're losing a lot.
Right.
It's power bill is going to be higher.
Right.
So we have to look at the truth of what we feel, so that we can move into our power, and not just what somebody
Right.
wants you to say because it sounds good. You do yourself a great disservice.
Mm.
So it's a self honesty allows you to step into deeper levels of self empowerment.
Right. And this self empowerment, I mean, does it have to be an action? Because you talked about sitting around and waiting versus going and doing something.
Well, there is when I say that, you don't have to go and do anything, because it begins right in here. It
Mm.
begins here. It begins in a space that's not even it's not trapped between our heads.
Right.
It begins in a that level of awareness. That's where that whole tapping into one's power is coming from that deep space.
Mm.
And when we're doing that, now we are trusting that we are going to be guided on whatever the next move is. So it's not necessarily, well, I'm going to get up and I'm going to do this. It's tuning in, tapping in, trusting that power that you've anchored, that it's going to direct you, navigate you to whatever the next movements are in one's life, whether it be a new job or you being an entrepreneur, a business that you've always wanted to start, what your passion is, how can you know, tap into that passion, that creativity, that thing you want to do, this writing a book, starting a blog, whatever it is. That's how you're moving into that space, as opposed to being anchored in the fear. It has to
Mm.
begin right all in
Right.
here, all through the body. The spirals down all through. I think I'm gonna do like a little dance,
Like a
right
hula.
but that's kind of basically it, because your cells are taking on the energy of the belief. Your spinal fluid
Right.
is bathing the
Yeah.
cells in your thoughts.
Right. Right. Okay. So there's this. I mean, you've been doing self-help stuff pretty much always, right? Like, your thing is to empower other people.
Yeah, I guess you can look at it like that.
Well,
I guess
how
that,
would you look at it?
um, you know, one person, this is what one person said, and I guess it's the same thing. One person really came up with it because I do yearly retreats, and this person's been coming for, quite a few years. It's like our eighth year. And she said, you know what? I finally figured out what it is that you do for people. Because everybody that comes into your space, they come out like expansion, which is how I came up with the name. So I do. I think what I do is I present information that helps people to expand, and
Right.
it helps them to give themselves permission to expand, because the
Right.
permission has to come from you. It doesn't matter what I say or Markovati says. It has to come from you. You have to give yourself permission to
Absolutely.
expand. And
Absolutely.
so that's what I do. I help you to give yourself permission.
All right, now I'm back onto the duality, as we always like to discuss this sort of duality, non-duality concept. Again, permission to expand. I absolutely agree with the permission because it's an acceptance, like the universal principle of acceptance, the universal
Right.
womb. But really, people might need to contract, right?
Well, yeah, but expanding. Okay, here's the thing though. It depends on what we're looking at as expansion. Expansion to me just means allowing.
Right.
It's an allowingness that is there, not necessarily having to do an action per se, but you're allowing yourself to see the bigger picture.
Okay.
And that bigger picture is not just about the 3D, but the bigger picture in terms of your life, in terms of maybe a deeper understanding of what it is to be human.
Mm.
It's just this constant opening up, and it's not a forced opening up,
Right.
because when you give yourself permission and you're in that state of allowing yourself to see more, then it just starts to happen automatically,
Right.
according to how much you need to bite off in
Right.
any given moment
Is it
of information.
kind of like a flowering? You can't
Yeah,
force a
exactly.
flower to
So
petal.
there is no quota, there is no, any of that. And yeah, expansion could be just sitting on the couch watching,
Right.
movies for a week. You feel
Right.
like that's what you're doing.
Right.
Sometimes we feel that kind of shut down, and sometimes
Mm.
it's necessary.
Mm.
Sometimes it's necessary. Our brain says, okay, I need you to just shut down for a minute on mindless things so that a deeper work can take
Right.
place,
Right.
so that you're not interfering with your what I like to call your automated robotic self, survival self.
Right.
But you step back, and okay, now deeper work is happening, and then suddenly you get this feeling after several movies. It's like, okay, I feel like I'm ready for action. I want to sit down and start figuring out this book
Right.
I want to do. That's how it works. So there is no one way or one size fits all.
Yeah.
It all comes down to, can you tune in and trust that part of yourself?
Right, good. So, trust was going to be my next point, but I love the way you turned expansion into, an allowingness, the space to be heard or seen. So trust. Trust obviously is the. I mean, almost after the first point where you decide, okay, I declare I'm going to explore myself. I'm going to allow myself. And then there has to be a deep trust that you're not going to die or destroy yourself or destroy your family.
Right.
And I think that's where people generally get stopped or get stuck.
You're right about that. You're absolutely correct about that. The trust factor is a huge thing. And some of it is so connected with religious programs too.
Yeah.
There's this, well, trusting oneself that if you go on this deeper exploration, you are not going to find yourself tossed into the devil's den, or something evil, or worried about how your friends will feel about you if they know that you're exploring deeper. That's all heady stuff.
Yeah.
That's all in your head. And the only reason why those ideas are coming up is because they're coming from some deep subconscious programs, some beliefs that are deeply embedded there. So even then, it's still a great opportunity to see what's buried.
Right.
Because you get to see that.
Right.
But people, it doesn't matter. And even people in relationships where they're worried, it's going to affect their relationship. No, what is happening is that sometimes when people decide they don't want to grow too much in case it splits up their relationship, actually, when we decide to just allow whatever growth that wants to happen, we'd be surprised how our mate,
Matches.
yeah, because they've been holding a story based on your story.
Right, right,
Everybody has to keep playing the game according to what works, what characters they need to play.
right.
And when we are free to go, you know what? I am trusting all of this. Then suddenly you hear your mate say, oh yeah, I started to look at this or whatever. But you're holding your own self back
Right,
is what
right.
I realize. You hold your own self back. You have to trust the process. And if indeed that relationship somehow didn't work, it would only be because it ran its course. It's not that it didn't
Mm,
work. I
mm.
say all relationships work.
Right,
I just think they run their course according to the growth of each person, because we're in relationships based on stories and the kind of engagement that is necessary between you and
mm,
that person or that job that you're working with. It's all just relationships. Relationship with the
right.
chair. I tell people they're in a relationship with their furniture.
Absolutely.
Don't get rid of that chair.
Oh,
Don't touch that chair.
absolutely. I'm in a relationship with my favorite mug.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I'm in a relationship with my favorite bottle that I've had for like,
Yeah.
I don't know, at least 7 years.
But I'm also cheating on my favorite mug.
Ooh. Well, I do occasionally.
But
I
it's
have
not a
second
cheat.
one.
I'm in an open relationship with my
You're in
mugs.
a relation. I
Um,
love it. I've got to bring that to the table between the two bottles. I've
Right.
got to bring that up because I won't cheat on them with a glass.
exactly. But, sometimes, as you say, and I think this is important, this notion of cheating.
Hmm.
The society, the way it's set up, is kind of pressuring us to achieve more, earn, work hard, come home and cook and clean, and then go to bed or watch some shit TV, then go to bed, and then get up and do it again. And it's like there's a pressure on us to be a certain way.
Well, that's the prescription. That's
Right.
the prescribed life. I call it a prescription. Just like the doctor writes you a prescription, this is the prescription, collective prescription, social prescription.
Right.
And everybody wants to make sure that they're taking that prescription. Otherwise, there's a discomfort when you feel like the odd man is
Right.
like, oh, you're not successful. Based on what qualifies success in this social construct. And so we have to look at all of these
Right,
social
right.
constructs, lots of social programs, and you're right, people are feeling pressured. People do feel suicidal because a lot of times too, because they cannot meet those expectations.
Right.
And maybe you're not meeting those expectations because that's not your story.
Right.
That is not your journey.
Right.
You must allow yourself, here we go back to the word trust.
Right.
We must trust ourselves to for that ideal path in that moment to show up.
Right.
And not worry about other people because everybody is working with their own dance.
Right, right. And it seems like this time is maybe a great opportunity to that people are
Perfect time.
forced into having to look at their habit patterns that now can't carry on.
Absolutely, and that's true. And I think something that excuse me, folks want to be also cautious of and pay attention to is the fact that we are masters at distracting ourselves. We are masters at avoiding deep work. So a lot of people will either just binge watch like what's going on the TV, the news, or something like that, and then that allows them to live in the stories of fear or whatever the stories are that come out of that. In the meantime, you're still not looking at yourself. You're not. So we are masters at
Avoidance.
Another good example is I'll have some things that I need to do. I know I need to do them, but I will find a way to tell myself, well, actually, I do need to go to the store
Right.
right now, and I'll find a reason. Oh yeah, I want to get there before it gets crowded. So then I validate why, then by the time I'm done, 5, 6 hours will have gone by and I can't get it done, but I will have validated the 5 or 6
Right.
hours as to why. And that's what we do. We all,
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
ridiculous.
I mean, why do you think I'm doing this show? It's only to validate me doing nothing else.
Of course. So you have to do these interviews
Yeah.
every day, and then they take time because you've got to get it set up. You
Yeah.
got to get this done.
You've got to get the bios from the talkers,
Oh, that's right. That's right. In the meantime, you've got something else over here that you should be doing, but it's not as much fun
Right.
as what you're doing right now, and that's what we select. It's like the fun, the simpler thing that than the thing that is necessary.
Right.
That's becomes a major procrastination for a lot of people, though.
I mean, there are some people who say we should always go towards where's fun.
Oh yeah, but it doesn't mean that the other thing isn't fun. It's perception. For example, a passion, an idea, a business that you're excited about. Now, I understand that because I've always loved business, and so I've done a great many things, but I love coming up with the idea. Oh my God,
Oh, yeah.
it's such a great idea. But then now you actually have to do all these things to make it happen. And that's where you go, okay, well, I'll just make that list later. Or then you make the list and you go, well, I think maybe I'm going to wait until I hear from this other person that's going to work on my website. Right. And then I'll get...
Yeah, total. So we're masters of avoidance. But I mean, what should we be going towards the pain then? Should we be looking for where's uncomfortable in us and going and sitting in it?
Yeah, we don't even have to look because it's there. It's there. It's really, we don't have to go searching and digging with a flashlight. It's just see yourself. That's all. See yourself in the moment. Just see yourself. You're gonna feel yourself if you just are present with yourself, just as you would observe another individual. Just be available. Be available to each moment of your moving through your life. And when you're available, you will see yourself as if you're watching someone else, and you will hear the thoughts that are going on in your head, and you will feel the fear. Not only hear it, but you will feel that knot and that fear. And that's when you go, okay, so what am I afraid of right now? Why am I afraid that I might get the virus? Now, if you have a fear like that, you do need to sit with that, and you need to ask yourself these questions. And many times you're going to eventually end up at a brick wall, and you're going to find out there's really no validation or reason for it other than you've allowed the broadcast of that frequency to enter your mind. Much of what we do is speculate, so we need to examine that as well. Do I have it in this moment? I mean, is that what's no? So basically, I'm just speculating about a lot of things. We need to be right here, right now. Are you feeling okay? Yeah, I feel good. Then stay there with that. Right. I feel well. Okay. Then that's all you need to be. Right. That's it. I feel well. Not, well, what if is speculation.
Right.
And and that's why we live in the past and we live in the future. Because the past we have history of, we have information. Then we pull information from the past, whether it be our past or other people's past, and then we use it to build speculation. Yeah. But we don't like being present. It's just that being present or being available is just really something. And this is where the peace actually is.
Right. It's ironic. Why is it that we are so set to live in the past and projecting into the future rather than the now?
Adventure. The human beings like a good roller coaster ride, and we love the adventure of being human. We love the adventure, and on top of that, we are problem solvers. Right. We like to have something to solve. We love solving problems. They've even said that when creating these supercomputers. It's not the supercomputer, whatever the one is.
Quantum computer.
Quantum computers. That one of the things is that nothing has matched the human ability to solve a problem. We are masters at solving problems. That's what we do. So we get concerned when there isn't anything to solve. And that's
Right.
why we're always saying, oh, waiting for the other shoe to drop, or nothing good lasts forever. We're
Mm.
always bringing up these disclaimers. And so when there's a problem, oh, we're on it, as they say, like a dog on a bone.
Right. Right. Right.
We're like, we've got to solve. Ooh, so good. Now I feel so much better because life was like a little too content. And I'm worried that something is going to happen because there's nothing happening. So something's got to happen soon. A problem to be solved. I'm on it. And that's what we
Yeah.
do. We
Yeah.
love it.
Well, I mean, this is the difficult bit, is that in the moment there is no problem to solve.
There isn't. That's why we don't like it. There's no problem to solve. It's just peaceful, and then that starts to worry us. That's the whole thing.
Right.
That starts to worry us because we have to have something to worry about to know we're worried
Why
that
do
there's
we?
nothing.
Why do we have to
Why
have
do we
something to?
like to
Well, why do we have to
worry?
have something to worry about? Yeah.
Again, it's the adventure and
Adventure.
the problem solving, and the stories that spill out from all of this. We are all about stories. The whole human life is about the stories that we get to live and experience and share with each other, and these
Right.
scripts that we write and these characters that we bring into our story. That's the whole thing. But when you are here, it shuts down a lot of that, so you don't have stories running, and you don't have to worry about this person not liking you.
Mm.
When you worry that this person doesn't like me, or every job I go to, I don't know what it is that I end up with a problem
Mm-hmm.
with these people. Those are magnificent stories that you get to share with other people, and then they get to validate, well, you're such a good person. I know. Why does that always happen to you? So we get all these stories that we bring other people in, this full cast. But
Yeah.
when you're here, those stories are just not there. And if the fun, where's the fun? It's like praying for peace. Oh, let's all pray for peace. Well, the only way we could pray for peace is if there was the idea of no peace happening. But then if there was peace, which means there was nothing happening, then we wouldn't get to go on these crusades of saving other people,
Right.
and then getting together to pray for peace. Well, in the meantime, everybody really is here as a free agent with these various stories,
Mm.
that we get to experience. It's the human game.
Right.
Everything about being a human being is um, is supposed to be experienced, not necessarily by you or me. We experience our peace, but every people are coming and having experiences that you and I would not even dream of. It is not a biased reality. It is not a one-sided reality. You cannot say that all that exists are potentials and possibilities, and then you narrow it down to, okay, but only we can only live this way in peace. It doesn't work that way.
Mm-hmm.
It's all of it. It's a blanket. It's a big old ocean of possibilities, and
Mm.
you get to decide what choice points you choose, what choices you make. And those choices are being made based on what? Based on your belief system, your perception, your understanding, your knowledge. That's how we're entering into it. And that's why expansion becomes so, we go
Mm.
back to that idea of expansion and trust, why it becomes so important,
Right.
because it provides you with levels of information that allows you to make different choices.
Mm. All right. So in that, what I heard is that you can't have just peace, because you can't have just one thing without the opposite of it.
Well, yeah, we're in a polarized reality.
Right.
That's where we are. This is a polarized reality. And which means, we swing from positive to negative, from light to dark. It's
Right.
this swinging. And people seldom know how to be center. Well, being center goes back to the idea of being present, because when you are center, the judgment goes away. It's a very
Mm.
different
Mm.
space. It's an allowing space. There's an understanding that comes with being center, as opposed to the swing, which is all the way to the extreme. and to swing all the way that way. But
Right.
that's all part of the human game, and I think
Right.
it's to realize that all the pieces, all of it is part of the human game, and it's all okay
Mm.
according to each agent, each person,
Mm.
and what they're here to participate in.
Yes.
What you choose to do, like just like those other people, are going to be based on the level of awareness that you're in. Not greater or better than someone else. There's no greater or better. There's only what level of the game are you playing? Where are you in the game? And does your journey require?
Mm. So the story, the yin yang flow from left to right, from past to future, we love that. So being in the stillness, in the middle, in the center, clearly is the path that's been referred to by all spiritual teachers outside of religion.
Clarity.
Right, it gives you clarity. Now, in that, are the consequences of losing like impetus for changing things? Because if you're content in the center,
you won't lose that, because you're not in center all the time like that. It's just that when you are in center, when you're in clarity, when you're in a more clear space, from there your choices are going to be different, and whatever direction you need to go in. Now, for example, it's okay if you say, as I was talking to a friend of mine recently who's a psychologist, and I was saying, I still have a passion for women behind bars who have dealt with domestic violence, and obviously because I had dealt with that. So I've seen that now. How and if I were to deal with them, my centeredness and my clarity would allow me to possibly then approach them from a different standpoint, as to helping to empower them, as opposed to maybe a different kind of approach where I'm going still as a victim. I am still in victim mode. So this is what I mean. It brings clarity. You can still participate, but you are not participating from the standpoint of thinking everybody needs what you have.
right,
I am clear on that. Nobody needs anything that I'm saying. However, I'm saying things that a person may feel a resonance with, because it's all about resonance.
right,
What resonates? In that moment, they think, I resonate with that. So it's where
right,
are you coming from? You trying to save people? That's a completely different thing. Nobody needs saving.
right.
Everybody's here on their own agenda. However, when I'm feeling led to share certain levels of information, then whoever shows up for it shows up for it. But I also know that while I'm sharing, I am expanding my own self.
Right.
There is growth coming from that. So it's all in how we interpret
Absolutely.
all of this. It's not, I'm going to go out and I'm going to save the world because the world needs saving.
Right, right.
And I have all this information and they need everything that I have.
Have you been reading my memoirs?
I knew that. I kind of peeked over. I was able to see.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I'm Mark Abadi, and everybody needs to chant my name.
So it's ironic. People actually think that that's how I am. So there is, but there
I'm
is.
here to tell you it's true. No, I'm just kidding.
So there is this amazing thing that happens when you sit in center that enables you to tune into the resonance of the people who are there and offer a synergy that you might not have thought of.
Because you're not judging. When you're centered like that, it's not a judgment. You're not sitting judging in the ways that I just talked about, where you think they need to be saved. But you need to be. If you think they need to be saved, that means you think there's something right or wrong with them. But it's that feeling, it's that resonance. Like, you know what? I would like to share because I've experienced that before, and I've emerged from this. And so those people who are interested, say you go to the women's prison, well, maybe not everybody. Some people may decide to stay in their cells, but whoever comes out of the cells to listen are the people that have broadcast, their desire, and you've simply picked it up.
Right.
And then here you are, just like it's been done for all of us in different ways. So that's it for me.
Do you think Do you think that being in the center enables us to tune into the collective unconscious more?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Is
Again,
that what we're doing?
yeah, I think absolutely, because again, you can't process emotions. Our emotions change. First of all, when we're center, we're not feeling sad for somebody. We're not feeling, like some people say they're crying for humanity. It's not about that. That that's a judgment space. That's
Right.
not what we're doing. You're rising to a more elevated space where you're more center. It's almost like a bird's eye view.
Mm.
You're more center. You're in an understanding that this is a human game. You're part of this experience, and now you're allowing yourself to see what shows up and what direction. And it has nothing to do with sitting there, crying for the fate of humanity.
Right.
That's a story too.
Right.
That's your story that needs to be told and experienced in a different way. So
Yeah.
that's my approach to
Yeah.
any of what I do. You just kind of show up in that experience, and even in doing workshops or anything like that. I've told people that I've coached people for business. I've always said that when you charge, when you decide that you're going to charge whatever it is you're charging for your business, it should always be from the space of the value that you're placing on what you're offering, and not from the space of whether I'm not sure if people are going to be able to afford it or not. You have to be comfortable with what you are charging, and then you set out to place that amount on your service, and it's up to you at that point. If whether if people say, okay, I want to be part of that, I want to buy what you have, they will buy it. I mean, we see it all day long. I'm always pointing out, look at the Mercedes Benz and what is it, Tesla,
Mm-hmm.
and all these companies that have slapped their names on a product, from clothing to to
Mm-hmm.
whatever, vehicles to
Yeah.
the name. Oh, we get so excited. It's like, wow, you've arrived. So it's the symbolism. It's the coding, the encoding as to what it means to own these items. Well, somebody thought themselves pretty damn good about it and said, you know what, this is what I'm doing. This is a Mercedes and or Lexus or whatever, and I'm encoding it with value, and people will buy it. $100,000 for a little teeny car. But then when I buy it, I will know that I have status. I will know, and this doesn't mean that you can't just like the cars, because I do. I like the Tesla. I go with the energy of what I like,
Uh-huh.
the vibration of what I like, how it feels, not for status,
Mm.
but it feels great. You know what? Yeah, I really align with this. So it's resonance. It's moving more into the state of what's resonating in the moment,
In the
what you're
moment.
resonating with,
Yeah.
as opposed to social
Right. Right.
programming.
How does that living in the moment stuff interact with planning for the future?
Oh, you can still do that as well. I mean, I think you can plan up to a certain point. It depends on what it is that you're doing on top of it, and what does planning for the future mean to you. Is it security? So then it raises all these questions, because people, yeah, I want to plan for my future, for security. Well, what does that mean exactly? For when I retire,
Well, they're
I want to make
afraid.
sure,
There's fear that feeds that, right?
exactly. That's my point. So we have to look at that. Now, how are you planning? Is it, I'm planning something that I'm passionate about, and I'm thinking, okay, well, yeah, maybe, yeah, in a year or two, maybe I'll be able to do this with it. I'll take it even bigger. But doing this kind of thing requires fluidity. It requires the ability to see the change that's taking place with what you've created, and still not trying to force it, into a direction,
Mm.
because you're so stuck on oh, that's what I was going to do. No, you see what it wants to do, because everything is really alive. Your business
Right.
takes on a life of its own, and it's showing you, and it's being able to pay attention. Okay, so this is the direction it wants to go in, And if we can really tune into that, we see that it actually takes us in a much more expansive experience than our little character driven, automated
Right.
program self
Right.
was creating a secure options. Why? Because it pulls from past experiences, not just of your experiences of maybe where it defines something that you've done as a failure,
Right.
or are looking on at what's socially acceptable. It's pulling from that, and that's where you're pulling these decisions from, for safety and security, because we don't like the unknown. It's
Right.
very
Right.
scary, and we try to get as much predictability as possible, which becomes a setup.
We're setting ourselves up. I mean, it's like, so everything's alive, so be flexible with it. So,
Yeah, the
and
game is criminal. That's what I say.
say
This
again,
whole thing is just
the
criminal.
game is criminal, yeah. And the notion with the everything's alive, so be flexible with it. Almost in my brain, like I'm trying to think of, well, how could I use that as an excuse to stop doing it? Well, you could say, well, I'm going to let this project organically grow. I'll wait for it to develop
But
itself.
you know what? But if they do that, then that's something that they need to learn too. Then there's no losing in this thing. There is no wrong way in this thing. There is only observation and telling the truth to yourself. This is the biggest thing that we have to do, is observe and tell ourselves the truth. If that's what you're doing, then you need to see that, okay, well, what's happening now when I'm doing nothing? What am I feeling when I'm doing nothing? Am I feeling safer? Am I worried? Is there worry? Well, maybe I should do something. I mean, we have to, again, it's all about just tuning in and being truthful with, whether it be two sides, two parts of your mind or your brain that's talking to you, and seeing one of them is going to feel heavier. One of those feelings is going to kind of drop, like an anchor. You need to pay attention to that. Why is there such fear when I think, okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move forward, I'm going to do this? Then you get this big knot.
Right.
That's when you stop and you
What
start
if it
paying attention
fails?
to it.
What if
Yeah,
it fails? Yeah.
exactly.
Like it
Yeah,
did last time or something.
like it did last time. And that's why you have to pay attention to the knot, because the knot is going to tell you exactly what is this knot. And it happens like in a flash. You can feel the knot, and immediately, because we ignore it, but immediately a thought of the last business project may just sweep by your mind. Don't ignore it. Don't think that, oh, that just came up. No, it came up for a reason. It came up to show you. That part of you wants you to see all the sabotaging belief systems that are there. So it's constantly showing you. I did a workshop some years back called Reading the Data Stream. And that workshop was really about people realizing that everything, how to read all of life, everything. Somebody bumps into you on the street, there is nothing that just is just random. Every single thing, and it's like everything is showing you. It's a computer printout. Everything and everybody everywhere is showing you and what's really going on, at the subconscious level.
Mm.
Somebody that's upset you, well, I this happened, and you're all upset about it. And you get an opportunity to step back and go, well, why was I so upset? I know clearly for me, I get upset when I'm asked to cover my face. Well, I don't wear the mask, but I have a scarf,
Mm.
and I'm clear that I have issues with being controlled.
Right. Right.
I do not like being told what to do, especially
Right.
it's just nonsensical to me.
Well, now what do you do with that then? You've got issues of being told what to do. And now that obviously comes from your past story of all of your experience of domestic violence and what have you.
No, that's just been me since birth.
Okay.
That's just been me. I just don't. I don't like being told what to do, particularly when it's when it's not justifiable. When facts or things don't add up.
Mm.
For me, not just in this situation.
Yeah.
Um, then it makes no sense. But I'm okay if you're making a suggestion that makes sense,
Right.
then I'm all on
Right.
board.
Right. Well, so
But
what?
in the sense of foolish, just foolishly sheepling
Right.
along,
Sheepling.
that is what I mean. I am not
Okay.
a good sheeple. Neither do I want to be a good sheeple, because you
Right.
can't see when you're a good sheeple.
Yeah. 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 Death to the sheeples. No. 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 Cancel. Clear. What about ancestral, like past DNA encoded memory,
Oh well, yeah, we all
epigenetics, and all
have
that?
all of that. Yeah, I mean, we all, we're like a computer, so we have all this information recorded there, and sometimes there are times when it always attempts to, certain things raise its head, but everything is popping up according to the conditions, according to what people are experiencing at the time, according to levels of stress. It's like
Mm.
disease. It doesn't necessarily have to be your thing that you get diabetes because five other people in your family had diabetes.
Yeah.
But now you have to look at the choices. You have to look at lifestyle. You have to look at a lot of things. These things are being triggered. There's a lot of latent information there.
Right.
Let's say
Right.
latent information, and you're the one that triggers triggers this information
Mm.
to be there, to pop up. And if it pops up, then that means you needed to know that. You
Right.
needed to
But I mean,
see that.
how much attention do we have to pay to the story of those past things? Like, you can dive into the past life story and, I was
Yeah,
Cleopatra and
do
blah,
that.
blah, blah.
Yeah, I don't do that. I don't dive into. I don't.
Do you
take
think
a
it's like
journey.
an endless Maya that way?
Yeah, I don't do that past life stuff, because when I'm present, when I say I'm present, let me rephrase that. When I make myself available to myself in my life as it is, right, and everything we've talked about.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm observing, when I'm okay with noticing and what I'm doing in the times, and I go, what in the hell are you doing, Sonia? That's how I talk to myself.
Uh-huh.
Like, what are you doing? Okay, so when I'm like that available, then as a thing arises, then I have the opportunity to examine that thing. But I'm not going to sit and try to find all these different things, because everything is about what's showing up right now.
Now,
And in
yeah.
that moment, that's when, now if it comes up and you feel like, wow, this is coming from another time, that's completely different.
Mm.
But it all is, all the programs, all the information just comes up at different times in our lives, for different choices that we're making, different relationship situations. When you're stuck in patterns, those are things that you really do need to look at. The string of the same kind of relationship all the time. You have to go, oh, okay. And I don't mean just romantic relationships. I'm talking with jobs and
Right.
people you work with, the
Yeah.
difficulty with dealing with other people.
Yeah.
It's not, you can't keep saying, it's, I don't know, I keep trying to do this, and then this always happens with people. Then if you're saying something always happens, then okay, so then
Yeah.
it has to do with you,
Mm.
not all of those people. And once we get that, it changes the relationships that
Right.
we get into, romantic relationships. We're not on a search, we're not on a hunt.
Yeah.
We're not, oh, I want to find somebody that's just like me, that really gets the spiritual stuff. To me, when you start doing an overdose of that to me means nothing, because you end up just pulling folks in that they may be speaking the same language to some degree, but then there's conflict.
Mm.
So I think you have to allow yourself in the moment to whatever it is. And if you get into that kind of relationship, it is evidently something you need to work out.
Right.
I mean, but
Right.
like I did. I mean, but then I was clear after that.
Right.
Then I was like, okay, all right, so I won't be doing that one again.
Right.
Then I didn't spend time going, oh yeah, I'll never get into a situation like that again. Whenever you keep talking about what you're never going to do, that means the chances are you will do it again. When you get it, there's a finality with that.
Right.
For me, there's just a finality of, okay, I get it.
Right.
Moving on. then there's no resonance for any of that to come my way. For
Right.
people like that don't show up in my space because there's no resonating energy to pull that person in. And I'm not, you're not looking to be loved and, I just want somebody to love me for me. We have to listen to our language. When
Yeah.
you start saying all of that, you have some deep work you need to do it yourself.
Right. And of course, language is so important. It's our magic spells that we cast. That was such a good point. I love that. When you get it, you don't need to keep repeating it to yourself. If you keep saying, "Oh, I'll never do that again. I'll never do that again," what you're saying is that means the program's still running, and
chances are you'll do it again.
Right.
Yeah. I'll never do that again. Or one of the things that was really interesting, well, from this particular person, but I've heard it a lot, is no matter what I do, I just can't seem to get ahead. No matter what I do, then that's a mantra.
Right.
Well, I'm like, well, you can't get ahead because you say no matter what you do, you've created a law, and the law is that no matter what I do, I won't be able to get ahead. So that's your law.
And then you want to prove it. You want to prove it to yourself.
Yeah,
See, I'm
exactly.
right. I'm correct.
And so he got it, and he goes, "Oh my goodness!" He's like, "I can't." Now I see it. It was like, yeah, well, you're getting exactly what you want because that's the law. That no matter what you do, you can't do this, and this. So that has to keep happening because that's the law. So we're writing these laws all the time, and so we need to hear, why do I keep, not finding love? Why do I keep not finding love?
And of course, that oh my, now I see it.
Yeah,
is where the sacred mirror comes in.
Absolutely, and you see it, and when you see it, there is no okay. I'm not going to do that again. That just goes away because now you get it. You're like, okay, the joke's on me.
Right.
I get it, and then now you're done. So it doesn't mean you have to work on this like all day, all week. What does Confucius say? Enlightenment need not take a lifetime. It can come in a moment. And it is. It's true. There really is no time, nothing quantifiable on change happening. So it's up to the individual as to how cemented and how much they really get that point. Like, okay, all right, not going to do that again. All right, and then I don't discuss it with anybody after that.
Yeah.
You just, it's not an option. That's the word. It's not an option.
Not an option.
Not an option.
Wow.
Moving right along.
Sonia, what a great chat. We've pretty much come to the end of our show. We're over time. I mean, I could talk to you all day, love, as you well know.
But and as I've said, I could look at your handsome face all day, which you agreed to. So
yes, I did. I agree. Tell us about how people can reach you. What are you doing? Are you doing online courses, webinars? What's going on in your life?
Yes, therealsoniabarrett.com is the website, so it's therealsoniabarrett.com.
Feels like it should be a wrap somewhere.
Yeah, and maybe we might work on that.
Yeah.
We made it therealsoniabarrett.com. My son was like, why don't you make it therealsoniabarrett.com? Because soniabarrett.com was taken. It's a photography studio.
How dare they?
So he's like, just make it therealsoniabarrett.com. So that's what we did. And I do a lot of workshops and, webinars. And, pretty much every workshop that I have given is available on the website. And I did it on purpose. Because it's progression. Like I don't do the same workshop twice. Never. Everything I do is growth. There's growth involved, so there's change. So a person can really take that journey. And I do a once a month free teleconference. It's called Reality Wednesdays, and
Cool.
It's once a month, and you can always listen to the last two at no charge, or you can become a member. And there's expansion portal, which is for members. And yesterday we met and we talked about the movie Dark City, which is absolutely fascinating. Yeah. And the expansionzone.com is my radio.
Amazing. Yeah.
Show.
And are you seeing clients for coaching, individuals?
Oh yes, I am. There's coaching and for business, which, it all comes under the same umbrella, because if you're doing business, it really isn't separate per se, but then for business aspect, I do help you to map whatever it is that you're attempting to do, you're aiming to do. So all of that information is on therealsoniabarrett.com under coaching and consultation.
Wonderful.
And all of that. And on thebusinessofdisease.com, that was a great time to watch my movie. Thebusinessofdisease.com.
Definitely a good time. Definitely a good time. We won't mention the God, I was going to say Bill Hicks, but it's not Bill Hicks.
You're talking Bill Gates.
The Bill Gates video. We won't mention that. The CIA. Conspiracy.
Oh, okay. We didn't get to mention it.
No,
okay.
no, we won't mention it.
Yeah.
Have you seen it? I'll send it.
You won't mention it. Yeah, did you say you won't mention
Yeah.
Bill Gates movie?
Absolutely not mentioning the notion that he spoke to the CIA and
we don't want to do that.
Yeah, 10 years ago and talked about it. No, we won't mention it. Anyway, Sonia, thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to be in the present with you any and all times.
Oh, it was definitely fun. As always, it's always a pleasure chatting with you. I love it. I love your sense of humor, as you well know. And this is what it's about, consciousness, spirituality. Humor is a very important piece of magic in all of this.
Absolutely. It comes from the word hummus. Hummus.
Oh, hummus. Oh, okay.
Humorous and hummus. They're all connected.
They're all connected.
Yeah.
I see that clearly.
Yes, exactly. It's all about hummus. So it's like the Zoolander movie. Is that the Zoolander? No, not the Zoolander. You mentioned that. It was Zohan. Blame it on the Zohan or something. Anyway,
Zohan? Okay. Well,
it's a good movie, but they're like all the Israelis and Arabs are pumping like hummus in like big vats and like just spreading hummus baths and stuff. It's an Arab Jewish hummus joke.
Hummus spa.
Yeah,
okay.
Hummus spa, exactly.
There you go.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I'm just gonna wrap. I'll just wrap up the show. You can hang there if you want, or pop off. I'll connect with you either way. So.
Alrighty. I thank you. Thanks to your audience.
Thank you so much.
And,
and like and share.
Yes,
all right.
I certainly will.
I'll just sum up the show. Thank you, Sonia. What a pleasure to have the wonderful, unique Sonia Barrett on. It seems obvious that the moment is key, and that inside the moment there's a discomfort because we are so programmed to look at the past, regret the past, and then try and apply it to the fear of the future. And it's this constant adventure, as Sonia says, this desire to have the action, the movement of structure, and really the magic happens when we can turn up centrally. And what Sonia said, expand. But remember, the expansion is not like become bigger or become smaller. It's expanding in the allowance of us. So become allowing of presence to be in the moment. You're safe. Nothing's going to happen. Except what will happen is you will become more attuned to the resonant factors that are going on in the frequencies and the information that's processing all around you. And when people come into your space and you are present in the now, you are able to talk with all of your personality and all of what you know and your stories and all that. You're able to talk with a reflective light that meets them where they are, that resonates with them. And what do we want? What does everyone want? We want to resonate with somebody. We want to have an impact on someone. We want to be heard. The best way to be heard is sit inside your state of now, so that from that state you can display, you can offer the same story from a slightly different angle, because you're in resonance with the people meeting you in the now, and that's where all the magic happens, in the now. Oh, God, it's so obvious we miss it. Thank you, Paul Julian Taylor. My beloved teacher. Anyway, my name's Mark Abadi. I've got a book, Book Evolve. Check it out, bookevolve.com. You can find me, markabadi.com. Please like and share these videos. And all the other videos are on my website, markabadi.com/watch. Next week, we've got some wonderful guests. We've got Teresa Livingstone. We've got Karen Atkins. We've got Missy Galore. We've got later on we've got Jerry Pollock, the fourth phase of water. Check it out, look it up. Amazing science stuff. I will see you. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Practice being present, being in the moment, because even though it's uncomfortable, there is real, I want to say power, but it's not the power to oppress or to influence. or to affect. It's the power to meet someone where they are and thus have yourself heard. And as Carl Jung says, the greatest gift we can give anyone is the space to be heard, including ourselves. So, give yourself the space to be heard. I will see you Monday. Much, much, much love. You can subscribe my YouTube channel as well.